And a pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year, our first Coach's Corner of the new year. And it's been about a month since we've been here, Bruce. We took a little break over the holidays, had that state championship celebration for Aliquippa and Central Valley at Roberts Roadside Inn. That was a great time.
That truly was. That set
Christmas.
the table for the holidays.
Oh,
yes,
it did.
That's for sure.
It did.
That's for sure. Now, are we going to pull off 2 basketball champions? That's the next question.
Well, maybe the Rochester Rams will. We won't
we'll
put any pressure on anybody.
Certainly not.
But I'll tell you,
boy,
I'll tell you, not to put any pressure on any team, but I'll tell you, the way that you and me saw Lincoln Park and Quaker Valley 2 days before Christmas, and I'll tell you, let's put it this way. If somebody in 4A is to beat one of those teams in a must-game situation, they better play very well.
Well, yeah,
because I think they got
right.
the tools to do.
Well, the funny thing is it's not just those two. I mean, Quaker Valley plays at Montour on Friday night, and the Spartans have done well this year also. So but you're right. What we saw at Quaker Valley that night was a foreshadowing that 4A, they better look out for this particular section.
That'll be a lot of fun. But we'll also looking forward to seeing what happens in 1A. And that brings us to our special guest tonight, Sean Keaton, the boys coach of the Rochester Rams. And Sean, coming off a year, a storybook year, getting all the way to the WPIL championship game. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Sean, welcome to the show, and great to have you. And things are really looking bright for the Rams, not only on the girls' hardwood, but the boys as well.
Yeah. First off, let me just say thanks for having me. I know the invite came last year. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, but I'm glad I'm coming over here.
Don't be nervous, Sean. Keep cool. You'll be all right. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for the invite. It coming off. I mean, just a storybook season like you said last year. I mean, it was just incredible. And then looking to build off that momentum from last year into this year and that, and getting that first section victory, which got us off on the right foot last night in that. So I mean, I'm expecting big things for us, and hopefully we can get back to that WPIL championship.
Okay, well, last night was a good start in that direction. You beat a Western Beaver team that figures to be a playoff contender. I mean, I have no reason to believe otherwise. You had that nice spurt at the beginning, and then you allowed Western to get back in. They took a 10-point deficit down to 2, but you guys regrouped, though, showed some character, and pulled away in the fourth quarter. Big win for you guys. You don't want to lose your home court advantage, especially with only 10 games that you play in section play.
Yeah, you got to definitely take care of games at home, and that was one of the things that we did well last year. We didn't lose a game at home at all, so we went undefeated. So you definitely got to take care of your home and that. And you spoke about last night's game. I mean, we made a couple big shots there at the end of the second quarter, in the end of the third, when Western went on a run and cut our deficit down to single digits in that. So hats off to my guys last night for making big plays in that. Like I said, it was just a great victory for us to get off to 1-0 in the section.
Sean, to me, I thought I was seeing double. I thought it was an instant replay. We had your game in the first week of March last year. It was a playoff game against Western Beaver. Because of the pandemic, you had the home game, but that game was I looked at my sheet. That game was 15-8 at the half. Last night was 18-11 at the half. The final score of that game was like 49-30. The final score of this game was like 48. I mean, to me, it was just like, whoa, it was everything all over again.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that?
Yeah, well, you know what? I didn't until you just brought that up, and that's very eerie that, the similar to last year. But, you got two teams, playing the same style. Western Beaver, Dave does a great job. Dave Kotobi, and that does a great job in that. And his team is physical, and we knew we were going to be in for a physical battle on that. But like I said, hats off to my guys just really stepping up, really making plays when plays were needed. Big shots. Western Beaver sat in that zone last night, and we were able to make some big shots, in that zone and that. So like I said, just hats off to my guys.
Well, excuse me, Sean, you definitely shot the ball very well behind the arc. J.D. Azalea, I believe he had 5
threes. I think Parker maybe had
Lyons
2
had
or
a
3.
couple.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and you were without one of your best players,
Yeah.
Sal Laurie, out sick, and I guess his status is in question for your Friday night game at Nazareth Prep.
Yeah, it's still up in the air in that, and we're hoping, but cross your fingers, everything else of that. Hopefully we get some good news with that. But yeah, JD really stepped up as he did last year. When Sal was ineligible for the playoffs and that. I
Right.
remember that game. JD really stepped
Right,
up
from
in that game.
Well,
Yep.
I can still see Sal just sitting on your bench going like he was doing these dribbling drills.
Well,
he was so itchy. He just
Sal really helped us in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
He really took that scout team to a whole nother level in
yeah,
that, and
no
he
doubt
really
about it.
helped us in that.
Just to clarify that, I mean, if in case you're not aware of why Sal Laurie was not allowed to play in the playoffs, because he did attend Swickley Academy as a sophomore, and then had to sit out a year because of the transfer rule.
Well, he had to sit out playoffs.
The playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm glad you clarified that. He had to sit out the playoffs. Now, he was allowed to play in the football playoffs because Swickley Academy does not have a football program.
Yep.
But now you don't have any worries, and hopefully you can get him back on the court healthy again, because without him last night, well, I know the old cliche, next man up, but boy, did J.D. Azalea pick up his game, and Parker Lyons was a spark plug for you, and guys just seem the sense that, hey, we don't have one of our best players, maybe our best player, but you guys got it done anyway.
Yeah, and I'm so thrilled for Parker, especially with him going down, first game of the football season. He's worked so hard to get himself back to that level. That was his first start of the season for us last night, and I mean, he came out there very aggressive, especially that first quarter, where a couple guys was a little hesitant, but Parker was just very aggressive, knocked down a couple shots, got some rebounds for us and that. So, I mean, hats off to him. And like you said, just JD, he did what he did well last night. Jerome Mullins, Duke Mullins, and that Noah Haskins got some big buckets for us last night. Adam Scher came in there, got some rebounds for us. So it was just a great team effort overall for us last night.
Sean, we don't have a lot of time to talk about these plays because we're always cutting to commercial break.
Okay.
But I thought it noteworthy that with 6 seconds to go in the half, Lyons made a three-pointer, and then after a Western Beaver run, it was another guy who I might have been Mullins who had a two-pointer right before the third period buzzer, and that stuff goes undetected by the average fan when the horn sounds. But particularly in that third quarter when Western had made a run, that was helping you cut the bleeding.
Yeah, like I said earlier, we had a 7 or 8 point lead, and then Western would go on a little 5-0 run. Next thing you know, it's down to 2 and 3. And like you said, just being able to get those buckets there at the end of the quarter, closing out quarters, we talk about that all the time. Guys really made plays there at the end of the quarter and gave us some momentum, gave us a 7-point lead going into halftime, and then gave us a 6-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And then we were able to extend that to double digits and really kind of coast the rest of the way.
Sean Keaton from Rochester, our special guest, now in his second year with the Rams. Sean, your team started out 1-5. And for people who might not know any better, they might look at the record and say, oh, okay, they went to the WPIL final. They must have been decimated by graduation. Really, though, you only lost really one starter, in my estimation, and Devin Heemer, who's now at CCBC. But I don't know if that was arranged by you or if you went out there and said, hey, we want to play a tough non-conference schedule because all the teams that you lost to were at least one class above you. Yep. Was that the hand that was dealt to you, or did you have a say-so in your early season scheduling?
No, working with my AD Brad Verico, we set out to create that schedule. It was basically preparing us as we got into this section play and eventually getting into the playoffs and that. Playing at bigger venues, bigger stages, more fans. I think that was one of the things that maybe hurt us when we played in the championship up at NA, that bigger venue. Not sure if my guys was ready for that setting and that. So I wanted to make sure this year we were ready.
You can rest assured that Bishop Canavan's playing those schools.
They are playing. Amani Christians are playing those schools.
Could you just for our listeners, for the uninitiated, could you give an outline, an overview of the teams you have played, just so you could name names? So the listeners will
we'd
understand.
open up with the 3A champion, Elwood City, Steve Antuano. I mean, his team, they're the defending 3A champions. You talked about Montour. That was our second game of the year.
They're legit, right?
They are very good.
Yeah.
They are very good. That's a 4A team. I think they're either number 2 or number 3 in 4A. And then we came back. We had the Beaver Falls Tigers. Coach Jeter does a great job they have physical size, speed, and that. And then we had the Quips come in after they just won their state championship in that. And we said, okay, maybe we can get them now, but they still had that swag, that confidence coming in there. DJ Walker, Cam Lindsey, those guys really came in there and made big plays in that. So, I mean, 4 quality schools, programs. I mean,
playoff teams is what you're trying to say.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And you did finally get the win over Ambridge.
Yep,
we
beat Ambridge, and then we came back and played Central Valley after that. So we played schools that were either 2 or 3 classifications higher than us. And just like you said, Bruce, Bishop Canavan's doing the same.
Oh, you can rest assured.
Christian's doing the
Eden's
same.
doing the same thing.
Yep.
Right.
So we got to do the same if we want to be at that level.
No East Podunk if you want to move along.
Yep.
We're going to take our first time out. We want to thank our producer, as always, Curtis Walsh, always does a great job. And always doing a great job is Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver, providing the refreshments. We got to fatten up the head coach a little bit when we get an opportunity. Sean Keaton, a very nice player in his day at New Brighton. We're going to talk about that situation and a little bit more.
Back in another century, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it was so long ago.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Let's take this time out for 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and of course our FM station 99.3 and our Facebook Live page. We'll be back after this time out.
Community College of Beaver County is more than a place to build a career, it's a place to belong. With extra financial grants and less fees, programs that get you to graduation or on the job fast, flexible courses that come straight to you, and full support along the way, CCBC offers real learning for real life. Don't just attend college, experience it. Visit ccbc.edu to browse classes and get started, or call 724-480-3504 to connect with CCBC. You belong here.
Keeping up with your busy life, getting you there on time.
Want to save more money? Discover the benefits of public transportation with BCTA. Public transportation's overall effects save the United States 4.2 billion gallons of gas annually. A household can save nearly $10,000 by taking public transportation and living with one less car, and reduce their chance of being in an accident by more than 90% by taking public transport. If all of this wasn't enough, a total of 87% of trips on public transport have a direct impact on the local economy and offers personal mobility and freedom. So this holiday season or any time, get on board with public transportation and BCTA. Check out BCTA's COVID-19 safety video at the BCTA website, bcta@bcta.com.
We know the way. We're BCTA.
Did you know that the Grand Valley Inn was voted #1 best overall restaurant in the Best of the Valley Reader's Choice Awards 4 years in a row? Grand Valley Inn also has a fun family trivia night Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. Call 724-843-9000 and reserve a spot for your team and win some great prizes. Again, that's 724-843-9000. Grand Valley Inn, good food, good friends, and good entertainment.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
They cared for you, and now you're caring for them. Caregiving for a parent experiencing memory loss can be challenging. St. Barnabas Memory Care is here to help. We offer a free in-home consultation for you and your loved one. Why not talk to St. Barnabas Memory Care Specialist today to discuss your individual situation? This no-charge evaluation can assist you with caring for those who have cared for you. Call 724-625-4000 or go to stbarnabasmemorycare.com. St. Barnabas is apart from ordinary.
And we continue with this edition of the Coach's Corner. First one for basketball. Great to have Sean Keaton in a second year with the Rochester Rams. Sean, let's go back to your coaching days after your basketball career. You were an assistant coach at Rochester, so you got a little familiar with the program. Then the opportunity came for you to be the head coach of your alma mater at New Brighton. You spent 3 years there. And then the Rochester job came open, and I guess the first question that I would want to ask you is, okay, you're at home, you get to coach the program that you played for, that you grew up playing for and watching, and you knew that Rochester had not won a game 2 years ago. The question would be, why would you take this on this challenge? I know that you've never been afraid of a challenge, but this was a monumental challenge. Why leave
win one game?
Right.
That's why.
Why New Brighton, and why leave your alma mater for a Rochester job that was struggling?
Yeah, that was a question I got from a lot of people, and that was something that I was going back and forth with, whether to put my name in a hat. New Brighton, the opportunity came available, and I was fortunate to get the position in that, and I was there for 3 years. And like you said, that's my alma mater. Loved there. My mom still lives there. My sister and her family's there. Nephews and nieces there. Rochester. I live there. I live in the town. My kids go to school there. It's probably a 30-second drive, maybe a minute walk if I'm walking up to the gym. I'm not saying the New Brighton was a 2-hour commute in that, but I'm in that community. I had still great relationships with the administration, Dr. Babalino and Mr. Damon, of course Brad, with me being on his staff for 6 years and that, and I knew those kids, and I said, let's do it. I wish New Brighton all the well, and I know they got Coach Bartholomew over there now, and he's doing a great job over there, and Joe Greco, the AD, over there now. But I just felt Rochester was maybe a better fit for me. As I looked at it at that time.
How well did you know Rochi's personnel? I mean, you had to have an awareness. It's a small world.
I knew them. Yeah, I knew them. I knew Devin. I knew JD. I knew that. Noah Haskins, Duke. I knew those kids because I used to be the president of the Little Rams football organization. And that, so I knew all those kids when they were younger, growing up. I knew Sal was, coming over. He was moving over to stay with his dad back to Rochester and that. So, I just looked at everything, prayed on it, talked to my wife, talked to my mom, talked to my sister, talked to some other mentors, coaching mentors of mine and that. And I just said, let me just throw my name in a hat and see. And got the interview, and obviously the interview must have went well in that, and they offered me the position, and I accepted, and it's been great. I think it's the perfect fit for me, and like I said, the kids have been great, the families have been great, and I'm just very appreciative of. Not only appreciative of the opportunity, Brighton, to give me that opportunity to be their head coach, but then also to get another opportunity. Sometimes you get that first head coaching job, and you don't get another one until maybe another 5 or 10 years. But to be able to leave on my own, not get fired or let go, and to be able to slide over to Rochester, where, like I said, I'm I'm there. I'm in that community, and my kids go to school there. My wife graduated from there. I got my 2 older daughters graduated from there. I said, that's where my home's at.
Well,
So,
and it didn't take you long to prove to the world that, hey, they can win at Rochester.
Yep.
They did years ago. Paul Long had a couple good years about a decade ago, but then they kind of fell on hard times. But there was talent there, Sean, and I know that you'd be the first to say, I didn't do this by myself. It's not like this is all about me, but they needed somebody. And I think that's where Sean Keaton comes in, and maybe your best quality. You got those kids to believe that, hey, you guys can win. There's talent here, and I think that was probably the best thing you were able to do is make those kids believe in themselves.
Yeah. We had, once I got the job, I called each one of the returning players, and spoke with them one-on-one, and just talked about what I saw them and where I think they can improve and how we can improve as a team. And we were. Before everything went on a hiatus, we had 2 great scrimmages where I think that's where the kids really said, hey, we can compete, we can do this and that. And they really started to believe and buy in. Credit to my staff, Victor Grisby, Sam Laurie, credit to those guys and that. But like I said, we worked hard. We gave the guys the tools. I think they saw the work that we were putting in and said, hey, these guys are really working. They're preparing us for each game. So they said, let's, cause like you said, the talent was there. It was just that we had to get those guys to believe and understand. And we definitely had to improve on the defensive end because the previous years, they were giving up 80 points a game, and you're never going to win a game giving up 80 points a game. So we had to improve on that end. So, like I said, they're great kids. They wanted to win. They were hungry to win. And like I said, we were fortunate to come in there and give them some tools that, we were able to get things turned around quickly.
So Sean, in the time immediately after you were named head coach at Roche, tell us about how you assembled your coaching staff. How did that play out?
Yeah, well, Victor was on my staff at New Brighton and that. So
Grisby?
Okay. Yep. Coach Grisby, he was on my staff at New Brighton and that. So, when I was in the process of the interview, I had already reached out to him, to see as far as if he had any interest in joining me if I was able to obtain the job over there. And then of course Sam Laurie, he's been a fixture of Rochester. He's on the high school staff, Coach Matsuk's staff, and that. I had conversations with him and that. So you have those conversations as you go through the interview process. In preparation, if you do get the job, you already have the staff in place and you're ready to go, once you get the keys to the ship and that. So,
Coach, last year was it was a tremendous year overall for Beaver County basketball. Unfortunately, nobody was able to get to Hershey for the state finals, but you look at what the Beaver girls winning the WPIL championship, Lincoln Park winning another title, and that's getting to be happenstance. Then you have the Rochester Lady Rams. Sean, if you were allowed to have a co-ed team, I'm sure you could get Corinne Hauser some minutes.
She is solid. I mean, she is a tremendous player. Let me say she's a tremendous person.
Yeah.
Overall, and that and that's credit to her family.
Sean, I've never walked in to do one of your boys' games and not seen her right there in the front row. Yeah, she's right there every time.
She's there. She
did leave a couple minutes early last night, though. I'm gonna have to get on her. She didn't stay till the horn.
Yeah, she's fabulous. I mean, all the girls, Coach, CJ Ionita, I mean, his staff. I mean, we work well together. That's great also, to have that great relationship with your counterpart on the girls' side and that. But yeah, I mean, Corinne, I mean, she's just a fabulous player, fabulous person. She's in the gym working. Trust me, I see her in the gym. She's in there either before us or coming in after us. I mean, she puts in the work, and that's why, she's on her way to Kent State and on the bigger things and that. So.
It was a fun year for Rochester last year. I mean, the boys catching fire, getting to the WPIL final, and the girls winning their 3rd straight championship. But you guys might have been the story of the year. I mean, I love those rags to riches stories. And it's not like you were able to go out and spend money on free agents and bring in high-priced players like they might at the next level or at the pro level. You had to play with the hand you were dealt with. And you go from 0 wins to within 1 game of going to the state playoffs. And oddly enough, the team that defeated you, Bishop Canavan, they came down with a last-minute COVID situation, could not compete in the state playoffs. And I know that had to go through your players' minds. I mean, that's just one of those things that happen. And Bishop Canavan, congratulations to them. But you guys hung in there for the longest time.
Yeah. I mean, that, we knew it was going to be a tall task facing Bishop. I mean, they were, beating everyone. I mean, their score deficit was, probably 30 to 40 points every game in that. So it wasn't the prettiest of games, but we knew that was the way we were going to be able to stay in that game and compete. And we came down to the last 8 minutes that we were there.
Sean, I think
So
Bishop Canavan might have been a little deeper than you were at that point.
They were, and actually they had 2 guys also sitting out due to the eligibility rule. But they were definitely deeper. They had some bigger kids in that. But like I said, I'm proud of my guys. We competed. We were winning at the half, and we were probably a 31 press steal away from turning that game around there late in the 3rd quarter, and who knows what would have happened in that 4th quarter, because I don't think Bishop were in too many games that close, that late in it, for their season. So.
Well, after this timeout, we're going to talk to Sean Keaton about his playing career. He was not, he knew what it was like to get to a championship game as a player. We'll talk about that. And again, thanks to our producer, Curtis Walsh, and the Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver. Happy New Year. Everyone goes to Pizza Joe's. Why don't you make that part of your 2022? Grab some snacks at Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street, Beaver. We'll return after this break on Facebook and Beaver County Radio.
When you're looking for the Valley's best eye care, look to Gazzetti Optometric Services, 212 State Avenue in Beaver. Dr. John Gazzetti has over 40 years of patient care experience, including exams, contact lens fittings, cataract, glaucoma and dry eye management, laser vision correction, and sports and sun eyewear. For your best vision, make the best decision. Call Gazzetti Optometric Services at 724-774-7559.
Did you know that Eloquippa won its first state championship over 70 years ago? Hi, this is E-Man from Huffman's Drugstore. It was 1949, and the Quips defeated York for the state Class A basketball championship at the Philadelphia Convention Center. At that point in time, Huffman's Drugstore was already a fixture in town, having opened nearly 3 decades earlier. Our tenacity and drive has enabled us to win over customers for 100 years now. Visit Hoffman's Drugstore on Franklin Avenue, 724-375-4111.
Welcome to Beaver Valley Auto Mall. It's the best place to get a great deal on a really nice car. Our selection is amazing, especially right now. Search hundreds of vehicles at beavervalleycars.com. Find the one you like and schedule a test drive. Our expert staff and convenient location make the buying process easy to navigate. Every car is thoroughly inspected, and we'll keep it healthy with our first-class maintenance center. Buy here and service here. Become a Baba Beaver believer at Beaver Valley Auto Mall.
Ambridge Italian Villa, a family tradition with the taste sensation.
The 3 most important things to consider if you are planning a holiday get-together this year are food, food, and food. Great food makes the gathering memorable, and whether you are hosting the family dinner or have a giant corporate function to prepare for, get it vilified with catering from Ambridge Italian Villa. Spend your time under the mistletoe or in front of the fireplace with loved ones this year instead of in the kitchen. Vilifying your dinner party of any size with catering or pick up food from Ambridge Italian Villa is safer and better than going out to eat, and way more fun. Vilify your company party, group dinner, church celebration, or any event with catering from the Villa. Ambridge Italian Villa. Click AmbridgeItalianVilla.com or visit Ambridge Italian Villa on Duss Avenue in Ambridge.
Ambridge Italian Villa, a family tradition with the taste sensation.
Has changed since 1885. That's when my great-grandfather, William Andrew Hartzell, opened the doors to our family-owned and operated funeral home. This is William F. Rick Murphy from the William Murphy Funeral Home Incorporated in Rochester. Together with my son, Brian C. Murphy, we represent a business that is now flourishing into its 5th generation. Throughout that time, we've had the pleasure of experiencing many of local memories that have made Rochester and the surrounding area so great. I'll bet many of you can easily recall the H.C. Fry Glassworks, Barnett's Bootery, or even Kaufman's Department Store with its massive double-decker parking lot.
To put things in perspective, my family was already serving others at their time of need before the automobile had even been invented and the aforementioned businesses started and ended. Our commitment to serve our community with dignity and compassion has allowed the William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. to preserve a business legacy that spans nearly 140 years, and we're still here. To contact us, visit our website at William Murphy Funeral Home, Inc. or call 724-775-0309.
Did you ever think you would see a day when nobody showed up for the big city holiday parades or pro sports events? This is Michelle from Laughlin Insurance Agency in Rochester. If nothing else, this past year has taught us that things we never considered possible can happen and that nobody can predict the future. At the Laughlin Agency, your Penn National insurance provider, we give you the ability to protect against loss during unexpected times. Who knows what the future holds? Visit LaughlinInsAgency.com.
And we return to the Coach's Corner here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM. Our special guest tonight, Sean Keaton, the head boys coach of the Rochester Rams. Sean, your football counterpart came to the game last night. Gene Masuk, who was a former head basketball coach at Freedom, came by and said hello to Bruce and myself. And I mean, he was sitting up in there in the stands. And by the way, another, they have their banquet coming up. 200 odd wins now in his career. You look at what C.J. Iannini has done with the girls program, 3 straight WPIL titles. But I'm sure Gene was up there in the stands thinking, boy, it's nice to see Parker Lyons having some fun, because he's probably thinking, if I have a healthy Parker Lyons, maybe I win the WPIL championship, or at least get that far. I know Bishop Canavan, speaking of the monster that gets in the way, they got in the way of Holsch in the final in football. I'm sorry, but it was, I'm sure Gene was thinking, boy, why could he have been healthy just a few weeks ago?
Yeah. Like we was talking in the break, I mean, just a freakish play that he got injured on, 6 minutes into the first quarter of the first game of the year. And but like I said earlier, he's worked so hard to get back, to get back onto the playing court. And, I'm thankful we had him last night, because we needed him last night in that. So.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. We thought it was amusing also, because there was times when he was guarding Lefevre. I mean, it was quarterback guarding quarterback. So that was a pretty good matchup. They were able to lock horns there. But I would also say this, we've talked about your record being deceiving. But what we would like you to do is outline the other teams in the section and what, how you think you have to beat them and what might be necessary, et cetera, et cetera.
I tell you what, I got to start with Union, the Scotties. I mean, they're off to a fast start this year. Coach Mark Stanley does a great job up there. I mean, they're probably going about 9-10 deep. I've watched a handful of tapes on those guys. I mean, they're full court pressing. Great point guard with Matt Stanley, and then he has Anthony Stanley inside. I mean, they're shooting the ball well. They're playing fast. They're playing bodies. I mean, they play physical. So that's going to be. We play them next Friday, so maybe we could have you guys over there next Friday.
Where's that game
at Rochester?
Okay, that's at Rochester. Okay.
Yeah. I got to go to Eden Christian. They're new into our section. They weren't in our section last year. That's a tough venue. I'm not sure if you ever been to that. They call it the Barn up there.
Never been there.
It's probably as big as this area right here.
They should.
This
I would
here.
think they would call it the Garden. That seems more. That seems like that would be a better
very
name
good,
to me.
Bruce.
It looks
Very
like
good.
a barn from the outside.
But we should also say, from a local perspective, our man Damon is over there now. He transferred there.
Yep. So
we, Ambridge. Obviously, the Ambridge connection, everybody understands that. So that right there is going to make them a more solid team.
They were already solid, and like you said, the addition of Damon Astorino up there. I mean, so they're very good. That's another tough venue to play at. Then we had Western Beaver, who we battled with last night. Cornell's better. Coach Crummey's doing a great job down there. They're better this year. They got more kids out. I know that, they were lacking for numbers last year, but they got more kids out. They got some bigger size on their team and that. So we got them at their place next Tuesday. And then Nazareth Prep and that. I mean, that's, they were a powerhouse. They were the Bishop Canavan a couple years ago and that. But
they made it to the peak.
They're kind of a wild card. You never know as far as who they have with their roster. I think their record right now is 1-6, but I think they're definitely a lot better. Coach Brazil, Nehemiah Brazil, and that he does a great job with those guys and that. So our section is night in and night out. I mean, it's quality opponents that we're playing every night, and we got to come ready to go every night.
Speaking of quality, about 3 decades ago, you played high school ball under Dan O'Neill at New Brighton. And to this day, I think your club was one of the most entertaining to watch. I mean, you have a front line of Chris Pipkin. I'll say it again. Thank you. Honest Gabe Jackson, John Walker, and then you had yourself and Keith Wolfgang out front. You go to the WPIL championship game with that core as a junior, and then the following year after Chris and John graduated, Gabe Jackson's game just elevated, and you got back to the championship game. First question, Coach. Compare getting to the WPIL final as a player and last year as a coach. Can you say one is better than the other?
I don't know if it's better than the other. I can say that there's less stress as a player than as a coach. Being what was I, 15, 16 years old at that particular time. I really didn't, looking back at it now, I'm like, wow, that was a tremendous. But it's definitely as a coach. Last year was a lot of stress, preparation, getting ready for Bishop, all of that. Back then it was at the old Pitfield House. The game was there. That was just incredible times. I was blessed, fortunate to be a part of some great teams. Back then. That basketball at that time, Aliquippa was, with Sean Gilbert, Willie Lindsay, Myron Walker. We can go down to, John Miller and his Blackhawk teams. Elwood City, Center with Mike DeBacco and that. I was talking with somebody the other day. I think they called that my junior year, that AAA section, the Super 7 section and that. Because 7 teams, top to bottom. Riverside had a 6'10" guy. I can't remember the guy's name, but you talking about really had to bring it every night. You had to bring it every night.
Yeah, Sean, I worked there at the time, and I can guarantee you unequivocally, the greatest crowd that Robert Morris ever had for a high school game was a 1989 matchup between New Brighton and Aliquippa. In fact, there were so many people there. They had portable bleachers. That was only passed up by one game with Duquesne in the 90s, and then their 2013 game with Kentucky when Coach Calipari brought his team back. But other than that, was the third biggest crowd in the history of Robert Morris. Tell us about what it was like being involved in that game.
I tell you what, Bruce. It was. I thought the crowd when we played Aliquippa at Aliquippa was because I remember when we pulled up that day, and for the JV game, and there was people standing outside to get in for them. But that crowd up there at Robert Morris, it's just something that I just, like I said, just blessed to be a part of. Playing in front of maybe 5,000 people, jammed in for that one game. It wasn't like it was a double, triple header.
Oh, yeah, no,
it was
yeah,
just
that's
that
correct.
one
Oh, yeah, it
game
was a single header.
It was,
Yeah.
that, that magnitude and play in front of that game, and for that to come down to one play. I don't know if you remember, Pippen got fouled.
Oh yeah.
They called a timeout. I'm talking to Chris, and Chris was like, "Keith, I got this. I got this." He misses the front end on the one-on-one. John Walker, our 6'9" guy that you talked about, gets the rebound, puts it back up, hits the front rim, and then next thing I know, I just hear the buzzer ring, and that was the end of our year, in which Aliquippa went on to win the state championship that year, and so.
And they were only a 7th seed coming out of the WPIL. And that might have been when basketball hit its peak in the county. And I know we could always argue about that, but you look at that year, you had New Brighton going to the WPIL final, Aliquippa winning the state championship, Blackhawk got to the state west final, and then you move up a class in Quad A, Ambridge and Jim Deep got to within one game of going to Hershey. We're only talking about a few teams here.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, they called your section the super section. There was so much talent and great teams, and I don't know. I mean, I know that you can create arguments. I mean, Beaver Falls and Aliquippa won state titles in 1994, and you look at what the Blackhawks did with John Miller, and even the girls teams at Blackhawk and Hopewell, and Aliquippa, even Donna Ritchie back in that time zone, but. That was over collectively. I mean, I'm not going to get into the discussion. I know in the 60s you had Midland and Ambridge and Aliquippa. Those were unique years.
I'm showing 746. You better keep.
Okay, well, we'll put a stop to it. But, I could get carried away. But you know what, though? Collectively speaking, that was one heck of a season.
Yeah, that was just incredible.
Didn't
basketball.
Aliquippa girls win that year?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they were loaded that year. But that was just some incredible basketball that I was fortunate, like you said, to be a 6'9" center, a 6'6", jumping out the gym, at 6'5".
One other thing, and I'm not sure if Bruce Fry or Tom Hayes was working the game, but you were in the Blackhawk Christmas tournament. Used to be one of the great tournaments, certainly in Pennsylvania and maybe far beyond. And I don't think Coach O'Neill realizes, because it wasn't made to be a big deal, but maybe not too many people realize that the record for most points in a game was by Barney Cable from Rochester. I think he did it in 1956 with 56 points. Chris Pipkin has 55 with a couple minutes to go, and I'm sure that nobody on the bench is saying, "Hey, Coach, he's a point away. He's 2 points away from breaking the record." It probably didn't get a lot of notoriety at that time. I mean, probably only a few people really knew that record stood. But for the record, though, I'm sure that Coach O'Neill would have said, "Hey, let's get Chris's 57 and then let him sit."
And I'm going to be honest with you, that was probably the quietest 55 that night, because I couldn't believe at the end of the night that when I looked at the box score and they said Pip had 55. I was probably, and Gabe didn't even play that
Meanwhile,
night.
that guy Cable was throwing his radio off the wall. He was
to Dan O'Neill's credit, I mean, the game was lopsided, and Dan O'Neill was not the type who was going to rub it in.
No.
There was really no need to have Chris Pipkin on the floor, except for the fact that if he would known that the record was out there, I'm sure that Coach O'Neill would have given him that opportunity.
And we were playing Beaver that night, which was Coach Rick Sheffield, who was our assistant the previous year. So like you said, Coach O'Neill, I mean, him and Coach Sheffield, I mean, they're like this and that. So, we weren't going to try to run the score up or anything like that. But like I said, it was probably the quietest 55 that you could only imagine. That I mean, like I said, that was the type of talent and that was, fortunate to be playing with at that particular time. And I don't think you're ever going to see maybe that type of talent,
It makes you wonder.
right now, in this area, with that type of talent.
That was.
Anytime that Gabe Jackson's looking up to the two other big men on the team, then something's in the water. If Gabe is looking up at the two dudes next to him, something is shaking.
Well, Gabe Jackson and Myron Walker later became teammates at Robert Morris, and they helped the Colonials. Bruce, you were broadcasting
very
Colonial
much so.
games, so that was a special time for Robert Morris with two guys like Jackson and Myron Walker helping. We're going to take our final time out. I know we're running out of time now, but we still got to get the coach some Pizza Joe's pizza, or Bruce is going to eat it all. But thanks to Pizza Joe's. Okay. And thanks to Curtis again for his help for producing the night show as he does every week. We'll take this final time out on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.
Highmark Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Allegheny Health Network are pleased to present a new show on Beaver County Radio called Heroes. Tune in every Saturday at 10 and Sunday at 12:30 for Heroes, a wonderful half-hour segment hosted by Jim Roddy that profiles many of the local heroes in this community. Click highmark.com for more information and then tune in for Heroes this Saturday at 10 and again Sunday at 12:30 on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 for the best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas. The show is hosted by Mike Romai and is dedicated to shining light on great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests that are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is presented by St. Barnabas. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with new show host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com/the best of Beaver County.
It started with a road trip into the American Midwest. Huntington bankers with one mission, to understand how people made sense of money. And that's how we met Jason.
How do I save money? Jars. Whatever loose cash I have at the end of the day goes into the concert tickets jar, the vacation jar, you get it.
And that's how we came up with personalized goals for your savings accounts. Our customers give us the best ideas. Huntington, welcome. Member FDIC. Learn more at huntington.com.
Community College of Beaver County is more than a place to build a career, it's a place to belong. With extra financial grants and less fees, programs that get you to graduation or on the job fast, flexible courses that come straight to you, and full support along the way, CCBC offers real learning for real life. Don't just attend college, experience it. Visit ccbc.edu to browse classes and get started, or call 724-480-3504 to connect with CCBC. You belong here.
If you're looking to rid yourself of that unsightly, unwanted junk vehicle sitting on your property, call the experts at Plasmeyer Towing. They'll pay you in cash and will often pick up that vehicle the same day. Plasmeyer Towing, a full-service towing company in Elwood City, offers safe and reliable towing services for your vehicle in the local area, plus a selection of salvage vehicles for your car part needs. Plasmeyer Towing will pay you in cash for your junk, wrecked, or unwanted vehicle no matter the condition. Call 724-561-3300. Good luck to the Riverside Panthers on a great season.
Did you know that the Grand Valley Inn was voted #1 best overall restaurant in the Best of the Valley Reader's Choice Awards 4 years in a row? Grand Valley Inn also has a fun family trivia night Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. Call 724-843-9000 and reserve a spot for your team and win some great prizes. Again, that's 724-843-9000. Grand Valley Inn, good food, good friends, and good entertainment.
And we return to the Coach's Corner here on our final segment. We were talking a little bit during the break. I guess we could continue. Devin Heemer, who was one of your go-to players, probably your best overall player last year, 6'5" or so, and could really go to the basket. And now he's at CCBC playing under Lincoln Park grad and Tyler Kerr, and I guess he's getting a lot of minutes, Coach.
Yeah, he's being productive up there and that, and you know, I think he's in a great situation. You know, hopefully after this year, or maybe an additional year, we'll get a little more stronger. You know, work on a couple things. You know, he'll be ready to move on to that next level on that. But yeah, I think he's in great hands with Coach Kerr.
I'm just glad he's well, because no more than 15 feet away from us, he tried to go up and over that Adam Gunn, that football player from Union who's went to Louisville. Remember that was a noise. What about the sound of that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that was
scary.
like the sound of a baseball bat. I mean, and so for him to get up, and that was it, that Juanita, I think her name is, came and took, you know.
Yeah, our trainer Juanita Harris.
Yeah, for him to come up and walk away from that. That's you know, he's on borrowed time now. That was great.
That was a scary fall, because
because just the sound of it.
The sound, and then he was on the ground for a while.
Right.
So we were really unsure, you know, what was the significance of the injury, but you know, I think he only sat out one game after that injury.
That's very fortunate. Of course, Gunn's just sitting there, you know, like
Coach Keaton. It's great to see Rochester boys basketball join the girls and having some moments of joy, because there were some lean years there. And I mean, if we would try to get over and broadcast the game, but let's be fair. I mean, it wasn't always entertainment, but
well, I don't know if our game's entertainment.
It's entertainment now. But when we were there, though, I could tell that there was something missing there. But I mean, you could count the number of people real quickly but now maybe the girls' success. You had an early success last year. The crowd got into it, and there was a nice buzz last night at the game. And later in the year, when Union comes into town, or you're talking about the end of next week.
Next Friday.
Well, you know what? I mean, there's going to be a lot of bodies there watching that game, and it's great to see Rochester basketball return to prominence.
Yeah. It's like you said, it was a couple, you know, some down years in that, but like I said, you know, last year was a tremendous year for us, and now we got to keep it moving forward. You know, that last year we got to say, okay, that's the standard now, and now, you know, that's what we have to expect every year, and that. So, you know, that's what we're preaching, that's what we're teaching. You know, that's what we're expecting, you know, from everyone who's, you know, signing up to join the team, and that this is where, you know, we're not dropping off after what we did last year. We have to continue to try to raise the bar.
Coach, the biggest challenge now, I mean, you came in a situation, you got kids to believe that they can win, but now the next step, keeping it going. You're going to lose guys like Sal Laurie and J.D. Azalea and a couple others who have helped put Rochester basketball on the map. Now you're talking about, I know you mentioned to me earlier, not on the show, but a couple 8th graders. You know that the future of the program is at the youth level, and I know that's where you're working hard.
Yeah, that's critical right there. You got to get that feeder system. That's what Coach Iannini has over there with the girls. I mean, he has a tremendous feeder system over there. My daughter's involved in that feeder system.
Yeah, I think he starts in 4th.
He does, yep.
Yeah.
And so we're building that now. I got actually Brad Varicos helping me out, Ed Gorman. So I got some good people down there at the lower grade levels that, you know, because I know that's critical, you know, to have sustained success as you move forward in that. So
yeah, that's fine. Sean, why don't you, here's your big chance in front of our audience in Facebook. Deliver your pitch on why people should come to see Union next Friday.
Hey, it's good. It's going to be hopefully both teams will be undefeated. You know, it'll give you a preview as to who's going to take the lead for the section, and you know, it's going to be two tremendous teams, well-coached teams, and it's going to be some great basketball. So please come out next Friday out to Rochester at 7:30.
That sounded good.
We
Yeah,
can't outdo that.
Right, no.
The only thing,
make sure that bill comes in the mail for our airtime.
Friday night, Mike Azadian and myself, Central Valley at Blackhawk, will be on the air at 7:05, followed by the Falcones Moon Township Ford wrap-up show till 10. Thanks a lot, Coach, for the visit.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll do it
our
again.
Pleasure. Yeah, you passed the audition. Good job.
For Curtis Walsh, for Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver, Bruce Fry, Coach Sean Keaton, I'm Bob Barry. But good night, everyone, here on
Happy New
1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and 99.3 FM. Good night, everyone.